'cause you're a good girl and you know it. You act so different.
Hey smugglings, what is happening? I wanted to talk about the fact that Silent Hill 2 has sold 2 million copies as of January 23rd, 2025, and what the significance of that is within the series and in the gaming landscape at large. And I wanted to talk about what this means financially for the series and if this game is a success or not. So that is what we're going to discuss in this particular video. So this news comes by way of Konami through their various social media platforms, where they announced that Silent Hill 2 has sold 2 million copies as of January 23rd, 2025, which is a great achievement for the series. And is that a great achievement for this game financially? And that's what I'm going to talk about here, because this game is thought to have had a $40 million budget, which is cheaper than I thought, quite honestly. I thought this would have been closer to 100 million, considering game budgets nowadays. When you look at games like The Last of Us Part 2 and Horizon Forbidden West, which cost north of $200 million, it's quite surprising a game like this is as cheap as it is, but that is the case. And obviously Horizon and Last of Us Part 2 are first party games, so they have more time and more budget to work with under the umbrella of Sony. So it is very impressive that they made Silent Hill 2 remake for $40 million. And it sold 2 million copies. So how much is that in terms of money? So if you look at the price tag of the game, which is $70, and you times that by 2 million, you will get $140 million in revenue. And that is well over the development budget of $40 million. So that is a definite success. It's not a absolute massive smash hit in the way that some games are, but it is nonetheless a success considering the development budget. And it's obviously quite nebulous whether you consider a game to be AAA, because what does that really mean? What is the threshold of being a AAA game? Is it past a certain budget? Is it the actual quality of the game? And I think the conventional wisdom is that once you're over a budgetary threshold, you're considered AAA. And it's typically games in the $100 million development budget range, which this is well below, surprisingly. Despite being from a series that is quite well known, it is below the development threshold of most AAA games, which is really impressive, like I said. And it is a great sign for the series moving forward, even though 2 million isn't really that much nowadays in the AAA space. The fact that this cost as little as it did negates that, because it is such a great amount of money to get for the investment that they put in financially. So that is really good. It is assumed to be the fastest selling Silent Hill game, which does make sense considering the number of players on the platforms of PS5 and Steam, which would outweigh the number of players on the original PS1, as Silent Hill 1 was the original fastest selling Silent Hill game. It is thought to be believed. And there's not much data on the sales of the series, surprisingly. It's really hard to find the concrete sales data on the series. You would look at VG charts, which will be the most reliable source, but a lot of the info seems to be outdated, because they still have Silent Hill 2 at 1 million sold when it's now sold 2 million. But that is the case with that. I think Konami are perhaps quite conservative with releasing the sales figures for these games, and they obviously don't have to, but I think they would like to boast once they have ample reason to, which they have, and that is something that I cannot fault them for, because I would be boasting as well if my game sold 2 million copies, which is a great achievement considering the budget, considering the fact that the series is not a series that is on the level of Call of Duty or any other AAA game in that particular space. It is a series that is not usually one that sold millions and millions of copies like its contemporaries such as Resident Evil, which is a series that has sold much more. But it is still a great achievement that it's got as much as it has. So what does this mean for the upcoming games in the series? So we got Silent Hill F and Silent Hill Townfall, which are the two games that were announced in the 2022 Silent Hill live broadcast that we were made aware of. So what does that mean for them in terms of their promise financially and their viability as a commercial product? I think it is a good sign, and if the games are of a good quality, then it is a very good sign. We will just have to see how the games actually are, because these are being made by different developers, and I do believe that a lot of games do live and die by the review scores. Unfortunately, I think the review scores still do have a certain amount of power when it comes to dictating the market and dictating what people actually want to buy. So we'll see how those games fare. I think Silent Hill Townfall looks really promising, and Silent Hill F, I'm really excited for both of them. But we obviously haven't seen any gameplay really of either. Silent Hill F is the next mainline entry in the series, so that's going to be very important for the dictation of the appeal of the series in the mainline series. So we're going to see how that fares, but I think it is a good sign, and it seems to be a sign that there's genuine interest in the series from modern players. And even the short message game, which was not great, still had 1 million downloads very quickly after release. So there's an appetite for this series, and it's almost not surprising when you look at PT and how much buzz that generated. And I think the series is partly running off that high still, as that was a revolution, quite honestly. The PT game that came out was highly influential on games such as Resident Evil 7, Biohazard, and a lot of copycats in the indie space. So it's no surprise that there is some interest generated from that particular release. So that's the video, guys. Just wanted to discuss what this means and perhaps provide a little bit of insight. Like I said, it's $140 million revenue generated against a $40 million budget, which is awesome, and it's a success. So that is great news, and I'm really excited to see where the series goes. It is my favorite series in gaming, and happy that it's become a success, and we've had a real win with Silent Hill 2, which is great news, and I can't wait to see where the series goes moving forward. So that is the video, guys. Just wanted to discuss that, and I really appreciate you watching, Smauglings. You guys take care, and I will see you soon.